Most people never lose money in the market. They lose it long before they ever place their first trade. The moment the goal becomes finding absolute safety instead of intelligent opportunity, the path to extraordinary wealth quietly disappears. That is exactly why learning how to make money thinking like great speculators has so little to do with predicting markets, and everything to do with changing the way you think. The difference begins the moment you decide to master risk, not eliminate it, not fear it, master it. Because the people who consistently build exceptional fortunes are rarely the ones with the most information. They are the ones who understand uncertainty better than everyone else. Buried inside the Zurich Axioms by Max Gunther is a philosophy that challenges nearly everything conventional financial advice teaches. Some of its principles seem uncomfortable at first. Others appear almost reckless. Yet together, they reveal why so many intelligent people spend decades working hard without ever creating real financial freedom. But there is one principle, often overlooked even by experienced investors, that quietly determines whether risk becomes your greatest ally or your most expensive enemy. It connects every idea you'll discover today. And by the end of this journey, you'll understand why mastering uncertainty is far more valuable than chasing certainty itself. The first mistake almost everyone makes happens before money is ever invested. And once you recognize it, you'll never look at financial decisions the same way again. Why most people lose before they even invest. The search for certainty is often the most expensive investment of all. Most people believe financial success begins with choosing the right stock, the right business, or the perfect moment to invest. In reality, the first decision that shapes every outcome happens much earlier. It begins with the belief that money should always be protected from uncertainty. That sounds wise, but it quietly creates a mindset that avoids the very situations where extraordinary returns are born. Great speculators approach risk from an entirely different angle. They never assume uncertainty is a problem to eliminate. Instead, they accept it as the natural price of opportunity. Every meaningful financial gain exists because someone was willing to act before the outcome was guaranteed. Waiting until everything feels safe usually means arriving after the greatest rewards have already disappeared. This explains why so many intelligent people spend years gathering information without making meaningful progress. They confuse preparation with protection. More books, more news, more analysis, and more opinions become substitutes for decisive action. Eventually, the desire to avoid mistakes becomes larger than the desire to create wealth, leaving them trapped in permanent hesitation. The practical shift is surprisingly simple. Instead of asking whether a decision is completely safe, begin asking whether the potential reward justifies the calculated risk involved. That single change transforms uncertainty from something to fear into something to evaluate objectively. Risk stops controlling your emotions and becomes another variable to manage with discipline. Yet this is only the foundation. An even more dangerous habit destroys fortunes after the first decision has already been made, and unlike fear, it disguises itself as patience. The discipline of cutting opportunities. Short. Hope becomes dangerous the moment it replaces judgment. One of the hardest lessons in speculation is accepting that being wrong is inevitable. What separates exceptional decision-makers from everyone else is not the ability to avoid mistakes, but the willingness to abandon them before they become disasters. The average investor protects their ego. Great speculators protect their capital. This is where emotions quietly rewrite financial decisions. A losing position often becomes a personal battle instead of a business decision. People wait for the market to come back, convincing themselves that patience will eventually erase the loss. In many cases, what they call patience is simply an unwillingness to admit that reality has changed. The same trap appears outside investing. Businesses continue funding failing projects because too much has already been spent. Careers remain stagnant because years have been invested in the wrong direction. Relationships, opportunities, and ambitions are extended long after the evidence suggests they should end. The past begins dictating the future, even though the past can never be recovered. Discipline demands a different question. If I were making this decision for the first time today, would I still choose it? If the answer is no, then yesterday's investment should not become today's prison. Capital, time, and attention are limited resources, and protecting them requires emotional detachment more than intellectual brilliance. But letting go of bad decisions is only half of the equation. The next principle is even more surprising because it reveals why the people who constantly try to predict the future often understand it the least. Thinking in probabilities instead of predictions. The future rewards preparation, not certainty. One of the greatest illusions in finance is believing that successful people know what will happen next. Markets are filled with confident forecasts, detailed analyses, and bold predictions that sound convincing, until reality moves in a completely different direction. Great speculators understand that certainty is often just confidence wearing an expensive suit. Instead of searching for perfect predictions, they think in probabilities. Every decision is treated as a calculated bet where multiple outcomes remain possible. The goal is never to be right all the time. The goal is to make sure that when they are right, the gains outweigh the losses, and when they are wrong, the damage remains limited. This shift changes the entire relationship with uncertainty. That mindset creates remarkable flexibility. New information is not seen as a threat to one's intelligence, but as an opportunity to improve the next decision. There is no emotional attachment to yesterday's opinion because survival depends on adapting faster than circumstances change. Ironically, this willingness to change course often creates more consistent results than stubborn confidence ever could. The same principle applies far beyond investing. Career moves, business decisions, and major life choices rarely come with guarantees. Waiting for complete certainty usually means allowing opportunity to pass. Evaluating probabilities, preparing for different scenarios, and adjusting when reality changes leads to better long-term outcomes than trying to predict an unknowable future. Still, even those who master probabilities face an invisible enemy that statistics alone cannot defeat. The next principle exposes why emotional comfort can quietly destroy even the smartest financial strategy. Why emotional comfort is usually a financial trap. Comfort often whispers the most expensive lies. Financial markets have an unusual way of rewarding emotional discomfort. The moments that feel safest are often the moments when optimism has already pushed prices too high. Likewise, the periods that feel unbearable frequently appear when fear has driven others to abandon valuable opportunities. Following emotions may feel natural, but markets rarely pay for what feels natural. This is why crowds become such unreliable guides. Confidence spreads quickly during bull markets, convincing people that success will continue indefinitely. Panic spreads just as fast during downturns, making temporary setbacks look permanent. In both cases, emotion replaces independent judgment. The crowd is not irrational because it lacks intelligence. It is irrational because shared emotions become stronger than objective thinking. Great speculators build habits that create distance between feeling and action. They do not make important decisions at the emotional peak of excitement or fear. They pause, reassess the facts, and ask whether their judgment is being influenced by comfort, anxiety, or genuine opportunity. That simple pause often separates disciplined action from costly impulse. The same pattern appears in everyday life. Comfortable routines can delay difficult conversations, postpone meaningful career changes, or discourage bold decisions that could reshape the future. Growth rarely begins where comfort lives. It begins where clear thinking becomes more important than temporary emotional relief. But recognizing emotional traps is not enough. The final principle reveals how to build a mindset that doesn't merely survive uncertainty. It learns to benefit from it. Building a mind that profits from uncertainty. The strongest advantage is not confidence, it is adaptability. Most people spend their lives trying to make uncertainty disappear. Great speculators do the opposite. They develop a way of thinking that remains effective even when the future refuses to cooperate. Their confidence is never built on knowing exactly what will happen. It is built on knowing they can respond intelligently to whatever happens next. That mindset begins with abandoning the need to be right. Every decision becomes a hypothesis rather than a personal identity. If the evidence changes, the strategy changes. There is no embarrassment in changing direction because flexibility is viewed as strength, not weakness. Ego consumes energy defending old beliefs. Discipline invests that energy in finding better ones. Over time, this creates an extraordinary advantage. While others freeze during volatility, waiting for certainty to return, adaptable thinkers continue evaluating, adjusting, and moving forward. Every unexpected event becomes new information instead of a personal setback. Uncertainty stops being an obstacle and becomes a source of opportunities invisible to those still searching for perfect conditions. This way of thinking also reshapes daily life. Careers evolve faster, businesses recover more quickly, and financial decisions become calmer because success is no longer dependent on flawless predictions. It becomes the result of consistent adaptation. The goal is not to control the future, but to remain capable regardless of how the future unfolds. And that leads to the final revelation. All the principles you've seen point toward one unavoidable truth. Wealth is not ultimately determined by how much risk you take, but by whether risk ends up controlling you or serving you. Master risk or be controlled by it. Every financial decision is ultimately a decision about who controls your mind. The greatest lesson is not that risk creates wealth. Risk exists whether you acknowledge it or not. The real question is whether you approach it consciously or allow your emotions to make that choice for you. Fear disguises itself as caution. Greed disguises itself as confidence. Both become dangerous when they replace disciplined judgment. Those who build lasting wealth understand something that most people spend a lifetime avoiding. Absolute certainty is an illusion. Every meaningful opportunity carries uncertainty, and every attempt to escape uncertainty carries its own hidden cost. Once this becomes clear, financial decisions stop revolving around comfort and begin revolving around probability, discipline, and adaptability. This transformation reaches far beyond money. It changes the way challenges are faced, opportunities are recognized, and setbacks are interpreted. Losses become tuition instead of failure. Unexpected changes become information instead of panic. The future no longer appears as something to fear, but as something to navigate with clarity. That is why the most valuable investment is not a stock, a business, or a market strategy. It is the ability to think independently when everyone else is reacting emotionally. Markets will continue to rise and fall. Economies will change. New opportunities will emerge while old ones disappear. But a disciplined mind remains valuable in every environment because it knows that survival comes first, growth comes second, and certainty never comes. In the end, the people who consistently succeed are rarely the boldest or the luckiest. They are the ones who learn to master themselves before attempting to master the market. And once that happens, uncertainty is no longer the enemy. It becomes the place where extraordinary results quietly begin.